It's Sandra from Ever Changing Life. It's Tuesday, and I'm here again. Today we're talking about triggers. Triggers are neither good nor bad. Triggers are something that poke us to tell us they should have an effect on us, or not tell us they should have an effect, but triggers are things that poke us, that tell us there is an effect on us, an emotional effect. So the reason I'm bringing this up today is because I got triggered really badly yesterday, and I behaved very badly. Well, not badly as in harmful to other people, but in a way that I don't usually do. It was brought to my attention that what I was doing was not good enough, and I that's a trigger for me. Even though it was the best I could do, and I don't understand what I was doing wrong, it triggered me. And then I went into my fight and flight mode. Mine is actually flight and fawn, not freeze and fawn. I tend to freeze and fawn. And sometimes triggers make me angry. Sometimes they make me sad. Sometimes triggers can actually make me happy. But let's talk about what a trigger is. A trigger is something that happens that causes us to have a memory or a feeling that we didn't enjoy. So our primitive brain kicks into action, and we have a reaction to what has just happened, to this trigger. And the trigger itself is neither good nor bad. The trigger is just the thing that makes you aware that you have difficulty with whatever it is. And it may not be difficulty, but normally when we're talking about triggers, that is what we're talking about. It causes us to react badly. So for example, if someone yells at you, and as an adult, my daughter was just telling me that she has a trigger that when someone yells at her, she starts to cry immediately. And I said, wow, that's like not very good. Like maybe we need to work on that. Maybe we need to find a way to lessen that trigger. And she said, well, no, I don't know that we need to lessen it. I don't get yelled at very often, but I'm aware that triggers me in that fashion. And I found it very interesting because I was having the best weekend. And then Monday, I started doing my things that I had to do or that were on my schedule. And I got triggered. And I thought, oh, wow, I was vibrating at such a high level. Why was I so easily taken down? Why was I so easily triggered and dropped into a lesser vibration? And it was because my euphoria was artificial. It was real, but it wasn't sustainable. So when you're raising your vibration, remember that you need to go up in increments so that you can sustain it. Like anything, you can't go from 0 to 60 and expect to stay at 60. You need to go from 0 to 5 to 10 to 15 to 20. And as you move up, it's sustainable. You don't learn how to run a marathon by running the however many miles it is. I'll say 25. I think it's 27. Maybe it's even 52. You don't do that all at once. You do it in increments. You train for it. And raising your vibration, you need to do the same thing. You need to train for it. So triggers, how triggers can help you train for it. When you get triggered and you recognize you have gotten triggered, what you can do is figure out why it's a trigger. So I was triggered because I have difficulty understanding what people want. And when they're not clear, that triggers me. It makes me feel less than. And I get it. I understand. It wasn't their fault, and it usually isn't the fault of the person who's triggering you. It is the fault, not a fault. It is it is evidence that the trigger has awakened something in you that you should probably be dealing with. Now, if the trigger is something that doesn't happen very often and you don't feel it necessary to deal with it, that's fine. If the trigger is something that happens quite often, or your reaction is over the top, road rage, severe anger, severe depression, bursting into tears when you get triggered, those are over the top reactions, and those reactions should probably be dealt with. The reason for the reactions should probably be dealt with. You should probably consider looking into dealing with them. You don't need someone to do that unless what's causing the reaction is something so big that you can't deal with it yourself. I don't always advocate going to the professionals. I'm perfectly good with trying to figure stuff out myself, but I am aware that when you can't figure it out yourself, when you have tried and tried and tried, you sometimes need to ask someone who knows more than you, or maybe who knows something different than you. It is the different, it's not the more. We all know lots of stuff. It's the different, but we all don't have all the same information. For example, I'm taking a class on trauma, and I thought it was going to be one thing, turned out to be something else. That kind of triggered me. And then I thought, you know what? I signed up for it. I'm not going to not do it because I thought it was one thing and it's now something else. I'm going to do it and see what happens. And as a result of that, it triggered more things that from my childhood that probably need to be dealt with. It's time to deal with them. It's time to let them go. So I'm taking that trigger as a sign that maybe I need to stick with this. Maybe I need to stick this out this time and get rid of this forever. It doesn't need to be hanging on me anymore. So triggers, not good, not bad, but what are they doing to you? What's your trigger? Post in the comments how you've been recently triggered. Noting that a trigger is something that causes you a reaction that is unusual or upsetting. That's the trigger we're talking about. Now, when you see a good-looking guy and it triggers your libido, or a good-looking woman, that's a trigger as well. Triggers are not all good and bad. So that's not necessarily a bad trigger. I'm okay with being triggered that way. But if the trigger is causing you distress, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be in distress. So make sure that you are paying attention. That's the big thing. Pay attention to what is happening to you. And do you want it in your life? Do you want to have it happen? I see Elizabeth has posted on the comments that she is triggered by people implying that she's lying. I get that. So something has probably happened in the past that she's been accused of lying and she wasn't. And now when someone does it, she has that trigger of defensiveness. And as long as it's not affecting your life greatly, keep going on. But if it's causing you grief, if it's causing you to have doubts about who you are, what you believe, what you think, if it's causing you to have bad feelings consistently, then you may want to look at that. So that's enough on triggers. Thank you so much for joining me. If you do need any help, triggers are something I can absolutely help with. I can help lessen them. I can help lessen the feeling of the trigger. I can help remove the trigger. I can help remove the cause for the trigger. So you can reach me through my website, www.everchanginglife.ca. And if you'd like me to talk about anything in particular, post that in the comments as well. If you'd like to just be surprised by what I'm about to say every week, then just join me here live every Tuesday, 9 a.m. I'm Sandra with Ever Changing Life, and I believe that the greatest loss in life is not death. The greatest loss in life is when life dies inside you while you are still alive. Don't let that happen to you. Join me next week. In the meantime, have a wonderful day.